This is Books in the Woods, where we find great reads in the wild and review them for you. This week, number 5 is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, which has now become the talk of the town despite being first published in 1847, because this year a new film has been released that is titled, in quotes, Wuthering Heights, directed by Emerald Fennell, and there's all kinds of debate and screaming and yelling in literary circles about the fact that the film does not at all reflect the original novel. But before I get into that more, I just want to say how grateful I am that everybody is talking about this novel from 1847, and that would not be happening had Emerald Fennell not made this very, very outrageous and non-faithful film. So, without more ado, I'm going to talk about Wuthering Heights, the novel, but I do encourage you to go Google the reviews of the film and find out why it is so different from the novel. But I want to talk about the novel itself. I barely have time to cover the brilliance and individuality that characterizes this novel, whose author was practically penned up in a small home for most of her life. She died at 30 with just her siblings, and yet all of them produced works of middling to great genius. And the genius of this work is that it is a psychological novel far ahead of its time. This is not a romance. It is, even though I was somewhat swoony and swept away when I read it at 13, the feeling that I had reading it at 20 was much different, because this is not a story of love. It is a story of sexual obsession and possession and entitlement. What happens is that two people form a passionate attachment to each other as children and teenagers, Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff. But because Heathcliff is an outsider to the community, has darker skin, maybe a quote gypsy, Catherine does not feel she can marry this very poor man, which is actually quite a rational decision for the society of the time, and she marries her wealthy neighbor instead, the very white blonde Edgar Linton, who is a really nice guy. The rest of the novel is about Heathcliff and Catherine's passionate attachment, both of their inability to let each other go, and in particular, Heathcliff's reeking of revenge on everyone around him, including both families who kept him away from his loved one. Now, this may sound like it could be a romantic story, but it's really not, because when you think about it in today's terms, this is, had Heathcliff lived today, he would be the guy who takes an AR-15 and goes out into the public square and mows down all these people because he didn't get the female attention he wanted. Okay, Heathcliff is not a good guy. He kidnaps a woman. He psychologically tortures his eventual wife. He tries to ruin this other family. This is a bad guy. So, this is not a love story, it is a psychological novel, but believe me, if you choose to read it, you will find it fascinating. It will take some work. It is a Victorian novel, but you and or your book group will love it.